ladies and gentlemen, we're keeping on with following the money, and that jobs report has been released. It is not good, folks, especially if you are in manufacturing. It's also not good if you are a Black American. Check this out. The story's coming in hot. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. That's why we're talking about it. Second week jobs report undercuts Trump's claim of a booming economy. Uh-oh. Yeah, buddy. And you can see construction work there. The release of a second consecutive poor jobs report on Friday confirmed the reality that Mr. Trump has been trying to avoid. The labor market is stalling, and the nation is facing real strains under the weight of his economic agenda. 8 months into his second term, the some of Mr. Trump's highest tariffs and mass deportations appear to have credited noticeable pressure on employers. The economy added only 22,000 jobs in August, according to that latest readout from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The unemployment rate rose slightly to 4.3%, a nearly 4-year high, and the revised data showed that employment fell by 13,000 in June. The net loss of jobs since the end of Mr. Trump's first term in August, when the pandemic was raging. So that jobs report does not look good. I'm going to give you more details here. Let's start with manufacturing. Check this out. The U.S. has lost 42,000 manufacturing jobs since Liberation Day. You can't make these numbers up. I've been trying to tell you guys. We keep hearing over the years manufacturing is coming back. And in some ways, yes, but I have to say this, and we'll get back to the graphic. When people talk about manufacturing jobs coming back to the United States, I think sometimes people think about the old school way of doing things in the factories where there's an assembly line of workers and they're working on different parts of that assembly line. That's not coming back. Automation booted that out. And also, a lot of those jobs were sent to other countries. Then there's also the fact that we don't produce as much here in the United States. We import a lot of goods. So there's a lot of automation that has happened. And I don't think it's fair for politicians, Biden did it too. I don't think it's fair for politicians to lie to the American people and making them think like this is all coming back. It's not coming back like that. Those days are long gone. But if you look at the chart, you can see it. Over 42,000 jobs since April 2025. It has just been staggering. We've been going down, 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 down. What was it in Liar, Liar? Who was the guy that Jim Carrey said in Liar, Liar was going down? He was like, so-and-so's going down, 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 down. Well, I forget who he was talking about. But here, look, manufacturing is going down, 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 down. And this has been the case. And so part of this is because of the tariffs and inflation, which we did warn would be a problem. I didn't think it would be this bad, but we did warn that this was going to be a problem. Now, here's another part. Who do you think is really impacted? Not just those that work in manufacturing, but also, what did I tell you? When the U.S. gets a cold, Black America gets the flu. Black unemployment right now is at its highest since 2022.
Thank you for staying with us. Black unemployment just rose to its highest level since January of 22. The Labor Department reported Thursday the jobless rate for Black Americans climbed 6.8% in June. That's up sharply from May's 6%. And it's in stark contrast to the broader labor market's resilience. The national unemployment rate is down to 4.1%. Economists say Black Americans are usually impacted first whenever the economy begins to weaken.
When America gets a cold, Black America gets the flu. And even with the Wall Street Journal, they're talking about it too. And they specifically pointed that part out right here. I just want to show you the numbers. I'm just make this a little bit bigger for you so you can see what's happening. Oh, let's come back here. All right. Wall Street Journal, excuse me. Hiring stalled in August with 22,000 new jobs. So it goes on to say Friday's report adds a summer of slow hiring and points to a stagnant job market that has lengthened job searches, shut young people out of employment, and increase unemployment for Black workers. The Labor Department report also highlighted weakness from earlier this year. The government revised its numbers from previous months and said that the economy lost a net 13,000 jobs in June. It was the first such decline since December 2020. So that's going back to the pandemic, days. So let me show you something here. This is important. The losses in August were widespread, with the report showing drops in employment across sectors, including manufacturing and finance. Unemployment rose to 4.3% from 4.2%. That is still relatively low, suggesting that the immigration restrictions are crimping the supply of available workers. So this is where I push back on this part here. There are plenty of available workers. There are plenty of people looking for jobs. I know people that have put in numerous applications all year long and still haven't been able to find a job. And I think part of the problem is the applicant tracking system, the ATS, the way that this system works to weed out resumes, to weed out applicants. I think the system itself is very flawed. So that's a part of that as well. When you got all these people looking for a job at the same time, that system is only going to select a certain number of applications. And so a lot of times it's like you're just searching for a needle in a haystack. It's hard, I know, because I've been there, and there's some of you that are watching that have been there. Now, I want to show you these numbers. Okay, honey boos? Yvette Carnell shared this about the jobs report. The jobs report is out. Look at this. Now, I want to show you the breakdown. 16 years and older and over. Now, I just want to say, this is going through the months here. I'm not sure why, for whatever reason, they lumped in this category called 16 to 24-year-old unemployment. I'm not sure why they put 16-year-olds with people in their 20s, because the reality is a lot of 16-year-olds may not have to work. Like, you're in high school. I had a job at 16, but not everyone does. You're in high school, or maybe you have an extracurricular activity, so you can't work because you're doing that after school. But it was just weird. You're comparing a teenager to an adult, to a legal adult. Found that interesting. But they did that. So we're going to skip over that one because I just don't think it's fair to include 16-year-olds in that, whatever. But anyway, this is where we are now, right? Because that percentage right now for Black workers, that unemployment percentage is 7.5%. It's continued to increase. So you can see 6.1, then it was 6.8, 7.2, and now it is 7.5. And we'll look at the other ones as well, right? Here's another category for another reason, 16 to 19. I don't think it's fair, again, to put 16-year-olds in. They're not adults, right? They're not legally adults. So this is kind of weird. If we look at white unemployment, 3.8, it went from 3.8, 3.6, 3.7, still at 3.7. Asian unemployment, it went from 4.1, 3.5, 3.9, 3.6. So unemployment for Asian Americans has decreased. Hispanic Latino went from 5.4, 4.8, 5.0, 5.3. They also see a decrease compared to the first one, but an increase as of more recent. So this is what I was trying to explain to people, right? When we have economic issues in this country and people start to experience this type of fall, Black people usually are hit the hardest. This is what I was trying to tell you. Even when you look at us and you can look at us and compare us to Hispanic and Latino, you see we're hit the hardest by 7.5%. And for them, it's 5.3%. And this is something I think a lot of people don't see. On top of this, there's something else I want to add. Remember what is considered unemployed. Because if you're an adult, but you live with your parents, if you didn't file for unemployment, but you're unemployed, you're not included in this data. So the numbers are probably higher than what this report says. That is always something to keep in mind. I try to warn people about. Now, all I can say is this as a couple of things. Number one, the tariffs. I told you it would hit us back. You guys are already seeing this with the farmers in Arkansas. That also affects manufacturing. So when you put those tariffs on those countries where we're getting those goods from, that makes those products more expensive for the companies that need those goods here in the US. Just put it together. Again, follow the money. Two, and this is something a lot of people don't want to admit, but like I said, when they made those cuts to those federal jobs, I told you that that would greatly impact Black workers in this country because there are a lot of us that were able to gain benefits and to try to start establishing some type of generational wealth through those federal jobs. I know because my family did it, my extended family did it. Like a lot of us, like that's where we were able to, and as I got older, I started to notice it was harder and harder to get those jobs. Like I wasn't able to get a federal job. I remember I applied to work at the post office. I'll tell you a story one day, guys. One day we're going to sit down. We're going to have a long conversation. I'm going to tell you about all the places I applied to work at. I'm not kidding. Or I interviewed at, because I was just trying to look. I was trying to find a job that had benefits and that I would be able to pay my bills with. I applied to a lot of places, but yeah, I even applied to work at the post office. Those jobs are very, very hard to get, and military gets first priority. But I was never able to get any of those federal jobs. So it sucks. It sucks, but oh well. But as I was saying, I told you that that would hit Black American workers. And here we are. You saw the report that I had before about the 300,000 Black women that were now unemployed. You know, if you look at that DMV area, Maryland, Virginia, and DC, there's a larger Black population there. And part of that is because a lot of us worked for the federal government. That's why a lot of us were in that area, because those jobs was right there. And so I don't know. Now, the answer to this is people will say, well, if you had one of those jobs with the federal government, you should apply to work at the state. They can do that, but good luck. Hell, those jobs are hard to get too. I applied for those jobs too. Applying for the state jobs or to work with the city. And a lot of those jobs, the city jobs and the state jobs don't pay what you think they would. So here we are, guys. I've been telling you, they've been lying to you about the jobs, just like they were lying to you about the jobs under Biden. Everywhere I go, like people are like, I see all these now hiring signs, and I'm like, you still see them because those businesses don't offer any benefits. So it's like, yeah, you're hiring, but you don't offer any benefits. There's no health insurance. There's no dental. And yes, people need to take care of their teeth as well. There's no PTO. There's nothing. And a lot of people, I think, looking for jobs, they're not asking for a lot. They just want to be able to have benefits, which you should have, and to be able to, pay their bills. So think about that. The next time someone tells you, I was at the mall and I saw all these stores that said now hiring. Yeah, and a lot of them about to be now closing, because the malls are pretty much obsolete. They're not what they used to be anymore because everything's online. So there's that. So when a lot of people say that and they come to you and say, oh, there's jobs, people just don't want to work. Actually, me and my dad had this conversation recently. There's jobs, people don't want to work. Some of that could be true. There are some people that just don't want to, right? So that is a reality. But the reality also is a lot of those jobs don't offer benefits. So what good is it you go work for said company, but they don't offer you any health insurance, especially if it's a mom and pop business, you're probably not going to get any. No health insurance, no dental, no PTO. That's the thing. And if you just came from a federal government job where you were getting those things, yeah, you're probably going to be wanting benefits. It's just a reality. This shouldn't even be something difficult to ask for, right? Something to think about. And then there's the influencer market, which I didn't bring up. And that makes me wonder, maybe that's why they listed 16-year-olds here, because of influencers, right? You know, a lot of younger people are able to make money off of TikTok, right? Like that's been a big one for them, whether it's been TikTok or YouTube. I would say TikTok seems to be doing young people pretty well from what I've seen. So a lot of them are probably like, why should I take out student loans to go to college when I'm making this much money on TikTok? You know, like I can just save this money and stay with my parents for a little while and then eventually buy my own house. Good one I didn't think of, Danny. Video games. That's another one. The gamers. What about all the young people on Twitch and all that? Like they're making, some of them are making more money on Twitch playing video games than they would at a corporate job with a college degree. So, I mean, hey, do you? You know, I say, hey, do you, you know, more power to them. But I think that if you looking for that's a good one. L says local store jobs only hire their own people. That is a good point. That tends to be the case. But I mean, if you're wondering why some of these stores have a now hiring sign up and you don't see any more people in their work, and they probably don't offer no damn benefits or the pay is too low. So there's that as well. But yeah, that unemployment rate, that's real, you guys. So the economy is not doing what it should be doing. And in particular for Black Americans, that's not good. I hope more people talk about the story because, again, when America gets a cold, we get the flu. There you go. Follow the money. Let's go to some of the comments. We have one more story for you, ladies and gents. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Skylar, at this point, even OnlyFans. Let me lotion up these feet for some coin. You guys are too funny, man. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I love my audience. Thank you, Kenman. Kim Kardashian, get up off your effing ass and get to work. Yeah, I remember her saying that. Thank you, Ava. Hell, Black folks don't get the flu. They get COVID in this economy. There you go. Corn says, I think that was Ace Ventura. Oh, maybe it was Ace Ventura. Yeah. He says, so-and-so's going down, 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 down. Skylar says, Celine Dion, it's all coming back to me. Sabby, no, it's not. Those jobs are going down, down, down. That's going to be stuck in your head tonight, guys. Down, down, down. Hey, guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.